say, tell me where you really from. I ain't talking New York, I don't mean West Coast. I mean, look at your skin, so where you really from?
What's going on, everybody? Welcome and thank you for tuning into Great Wall of America, Untold Stories. This is a limited podcast series where What's going on, everybody? Welcome and thank you for tuning into Great Wall of America, Untold Stories, a limited podcast series where we as immigrants share our stories of how we overcome the barriers that face us in this country. Today's guest is Htet, a Queens, New York-based R&B artist by way of Burma. I was a fan of Htet's music before I met her in person. Only You was on repeat for months when I first heard it. And once I got to meet her in person, I became a fan of her as well. Here's a good friend of mine, Htet. What's up, Htet? How you doing?
Good. How are you?
Good. Thank you for being here.
Of course.
Thanks for your time. So I gotta ask, where are you from? But also, where are you really from?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, where am I really from? I'm from Myanmar, also known as Burma.
Okay.
City's Yangon. I don't know if you know it,
Mm-mm.
but
Yangon.
yeah, Yangon.
Okay. That's where you were born.
Yeah. You know, like Crab Rangoon.
Oh.
Rangoon is like based off of Yangon, basically. Like
Wow.
Rangoon was what the British called Yangon.
Huh.
Yeah.
How did that get? I wonder how that got tied back to
don't
Crab
know.
Rangoon. But okay.
I don't know.
Okay.
But yeah, born and raised.
Mm.
Moved here when I was 15.
Okay.
Yeah. Been here.
Moved here straight to New York.
Yeah, moved here straight to New York.
Gotcha.
I lived in Queens for like 4 years. Went to Boston for
Queens.
college for 4 years, and then I came back. Yeah.
Did I know that you went to Boston?
I think
Where'd
so.
you go?
I think we like talked about that a bit. I was in the city. I went to Suffolk University.
Oh, maybe I didn't.
Yeah,
I feel
it's like right in the middle.
Yeah.
So it's right by the Commons.
Cool. Yeah.
And yeah, I was there for like 4 years. I lived in a different neighborhood every year. So like freshman year, Chinatown. Freshman year, dorm. Second year, Chinatown. Third year, Newberry. Fourth year, Alston.
Okay. I used to take martial arts in Chinatown.
Oh,
on
really?
Beach Street.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's nice.
But on the other side of the gate. So
Oh,
not
okay.
not
Like
on the Chinatown side.
across the gate on the other side.
Exactly.
Yeah. Across Summit Street.
Did you like what was living in Boston like?
I loved it.
Oh,
I
really?
Like, really wanted to stay
Wow.
there after school, but
Yeah.
my mom wanted me to come back. But I loved it
Okay.
in Boston. It was like, I don't know, it was really chill. I felt like
It's a pretty city.
Yeah, and it's small, so it's not overwhelming.
Mhm.
And that was maybe the first time I was ever away from my family completely. She wanted me to go to school in New York, but I didn't apply to any schools in New York to be
Right.
like, oh, I can't stay in New York.
So when you came in when you were 15,
Yeah.
your parents came with you?
No,
Okay.
actually, my mom was here with my middle sister first.
Okay. Got it.
Because my middle sister was going to college in California, so she was with her.
Mm.
And then she called me up and she's like, "You want to come in U.S.? You want to come study here?" I'm like, "Yeah."
Yeah.
I was going through like a breakup when I was 14,
Oh,
so I'm
okay.
like, "Yeah, I'm gonna come.
Interesting.
I'm gonna leave that behind."
But like, do you think like if you weren't if that relationship was like nice and blossoming, would you have wanted to stay in Miami?
No, I think I would have left.
Okay.
Yeah.
And was there like a desire to go to America when you were living in Myanmar? That was like an active thought. I was like, I want
You
to
know
go to
what?
America.
No, not really.
Right.
Not until my mom asked me.
Mm-hmm.
And I just thought it would be really fun because I've never been here at that point.
Yeah.
So I'm like, yeah, New York, I'll
Cool.
go.
Yeah, I've seen
Hell
that in
yeah.
movies.
Right.
Yeah,
I'm like,
yeah.
hell yeah, I'll go to school in New York. Like,
Yeah.
I'd like to know what public school is like. And
So why did you come to New York and then you're gonna leave New York and go to Boston?
I loved New York.
Yeah.
I just wanted to be away from like
Gotcha.
family, I
Yeah,
think.
yeah.
Not that I
Just like
didn't want
adolescent stuff.
right. I just
Right.
wanted to be alone and
Yeah,
with my
yeah.
friends. Like a lot of my friends from Burma went to Boston for school. So like
Got it.
Northeastern, Suffolk,
Yeah.
Harvard, whatever.
Mhm.
And I just wanted to be around them. Which is
Yeah.
funny because I left
Yeah.
them.
No, that makes sense. I get
Yeah.
it. And then, like, you don't want to be too far, so
Exactly.
You're like Boston is
Exactly.
far enough from your mom, but you can go home. When
I
you get,
almost went to California because
Right.
my best friend went to Chapman University in Orange County.
Mhm.
But she's like, that's too far.
Right.
So I'm like, okay,
Right.
I'll pick Boston.
So I'm a big fan of your music.
Thank you.
I listen to Only You all the time.
Yeah.
There was a time when I was listening to Only You every day.
Yeah, nice. It's one of my favorite songs, actually.
Yeah?
It was a
Okay.
one-take song.
That's amazing.
Yeah. Like, I went
The
in.
feelings are completely there.
Thank you.
Yeah,
I was
yeah.
like, yes,
Yeah.
I'm feeling it today. And then I sang the whole thing
Yeah.
the whole way through. And then I'm like, should I do another take? And then the guy's like, no,
Who's
I think
the
we're
guy?
good. You know, Larry.
Who helped you make this very important decision to be like, that felt like the best it's gonna be?
Yeah, Larry, which is like my recording mixing engineer at the time. And
Shout out to Larry.
shout out to Larry.
Wow.
He's awesome, by the way.
What's up, everybody? Thank y'all for tuning into the Great Wall of America podcast. I just want to take a quick second now to give a shout out to Lunar Hard Seltzer, the sponsor for this series. Some of the best people, some of the best drinks, and they're always showing out for the community. So make sure you show them some love at Lunar Hard Seltzer. Back to the podcast.
He's now in Vegas, I think.
Okay.
But yeah, I was working with him on a couple songs at the time, and that was one of them. Eugene played the guitar on it, and yeah, I just went in, and he's like, I think we're good. It's all there. It was a great take. And that was it.
That's perfect.
It was perfect.
Did you want to did you want to like, no, let me do it again, or like, are you sure? Like,
No, I trusted him.
Okay,
Yeah.
that's good.
'cause
That's
I trust
good.
people who have like, who I think are really good with music and
Yeah.
have good ears. And
Yeah.
I trusted his ears. So I was like, yeah, I trust
love that.
And I felt
Yeah.
it too.
Right.
You know, when you have a good take and you're like, oh, that one was good.
Sure. Like, but sometimes you still have that
Totally.
that other voice.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Like for me, my best friend Zach, you
Yeah.
know, like who produced a lot of my music, and we had this song called 3 Days in Chengdu that was 12 minutes long,
Yeah.
and we had gone on tour and performed it like 15 shows before we came back to New York to record it.
Okay.
So, you know, he throws the beat on, you know, I'm warming up. I do like a warm up take from top to bottom. He goes, that was it. And I go, no. That was literally, we said that was a warm up take.
Yeah.
You know, like, let me do an official take. He goes, you just came off a tour performing this with your heart out on stage, you know, like, that was the best one.
Yeah.
You know? I'm like, no. Let me do another one. So I go do a second take, 12-minute long song. And like, I'm trying to keep all the technical places that I think I messed up in on the first take. And then I would listen back and I'm like, all right, you're right. That first one is
That
the one.
always happens.
Yeah, it's
like
usually
when
the
you
first
think
one,
about
huh?
it,
Yeah.
it gets worse. If you're like, oh, it was good, but let me try it again, and it's never a better take.
Yeah,
Sometimes,
it could be better, like, in technicality
right.
wise, right?
It might not sound better.
The feelings.
Yeah, exactly.
It could be missing.
Yeah.
So you come here and your mom wants you to stay in New York to go to school, but you go to Boston. And what did you study in school?
Finance and business law. So
Okay.
I went to that school because they had a really good law program.
Yeah.
So I initially went there to go to law school.
Okay.
And then my senior year, like I found out that I needed an internship to graduate. And I really didn't know other lawyers or law firms at the time. So a friend of mine was working at this like finance firm as an accountant, and she's like, "Oh, my office is hiring. Do you wanna maybe go there?" Interviewed, got the job, interned at in a 4 women only team, and it was like a private wealth advisor was a woman, the analysts were women.
Wow.
And I was just so inspired.
Yeah.
And I really liked the work, so I'm like, okay, and I'm good at it, so might as
Yeah.
well stay in finance. And yeah.
And at what point did you drift into making music?
Ooh,
was that always
that's
a
great question.
part of you growing up, being around? I mean, I'm sure like Southeast Asia,
Yeah.
like the cultures are very robust. There's
Yeah.
a lot of music probably growing up around you.
Yeah, I mean, fun fact, my grandfather was actually like a famous singer back home.
Oh,
Yeah.
it's okay. So
Yeah.
it's in the genes.
Yeah, so I
Yeah.
used to I used to sing karaoke with him all the time.
Wow.
So And like my sister, my eldest
He was, like,
sister, is pretty
popping back
musical.
home?
Yeah, he was like popping
Ooh.
back home. I could show you his music video
hell
later.
yeah.
It's still
That's
there,
what's up.
even though
We'll
he's
throw
really
some photos up.
Yeah. And my eldest sister also made music here and there, but she never really took it like seriously like me, I guess.
Which we'll get back to.
Yeah, we can.
Your definition of serious too.
Right, exactly.
Yeah. Okay.
And like 2019, 2019, I was just like writing a lot of music. I joined actually, let me backtrack. So during college, I like lost music actually because the school didn't have like any music programs or music classes. So I didn't do music for like 3 years. Even though back in school, like high school, I was in plays, I was in choir. At college, I just lost it completely. And then I got really depressed because music wasn't in my life, and I didn't realize it at the time.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah.
Because you would have, if you did, you would have probably sought it out.
Exactly.
Right.
And then
it was just something was missing, but you didn't quite know what it was.
Exactly.
Very cool. Very interesting. Yeah.
And then senior year come, or like end of junior year, something like that. I was in class, and then I hear singing from the other wall on the other side.
Yeah.
And they sounded really good. So I'm like, ooh, what's that? And I excuse myself. I'm like, going to the bathroom. Turns out it's an a cappella group full of black women. And I'm like, whoa, this is sick. And then I'm like, are you guys taking anyone in?
Yeah.
I'd like to audition.
Yeah.
And then I ended up joining, and music got back into my life.
Wow.
Felt like I got better at singing because I was practicing all the time. Started writing, and that was like kind of how it started.
The end of college.
Yeah, end of college.
Wow.
And then I moved back to New York, and my friends all know that I make music or that I have songs, right? And a friend of mine, Kayla, shout out to Kayla.
Shout out to Kayla.
She was like, let's go to her boyfriend at the time, studio, her boyfriend's brother's studio or something. Let's go.
Sure.
Let's just have fun. My boyfriend's recording. I'm like, okay, fine. And then we get there. She's like, you have songs. You should record it. And then we just start talking. I had this one song that I wrote. I'm like, okay, yeah, let's go ahead and record it. What could happen?
Sure.
Recorded it. We finished like mix mastering, whatever. And then I just released it. Like, I didn't know anything at the time, so there was no marketing behind it. I just released it with a picture of mine or something. And her boyfriend also had featured on it. And that song had like, I think like 10K streams on the third day that it was released.
Wow.
And I was like, whoa, because all I've ever heard was that, don't expect to get any streams.
Right.
Like first song.
Right.
It's normal. So I was expecting less than 100.
Yeah.
And to see 10K by like the third day was crazy for me.
Yeah.
And then I was like, oh, maybe I'm actually kind of good at this.
Okay.
And I enjoy it. So let me just keep trying.
Hell yeah.
Let me just keep doing it. And then, now I'm here.
Wow. I mean, such a serendipitous start, right?
Yeah.
So how did it, you said, it was kind of crazy, but how did it make you feel? Like, actually, if you can, like, use other than crazy, when you first, a couple steps, when you first heard the records being recorded, you're like, oh, that's what I sound like on record. And then how did it feel when the song was actually a thing in the world?
I was so nervous.
Which part? During the recording part?
No, during the recording was fine because...
Right. But it was your first time recording?
Yeah.
And it felt natural to you? Did it feel weird on the mic or anything?
No. I was a little nervous at the mic too, but I love singing so much that it... and I felt like...
You were like, I'm waiting for this moment.
Yeah, exactly. And like, I wasn't really like
That's
taking it seriously, so I wasn't in my head too much about it. And then it really got into my head when it was closer to the release date, and I was like, ooh, what if people don't like it? Like, how am I gonna feel if only
my name is on it and stuff? Yeah.
So I was super nervous, but when it came out, I was so excited, and so many of my friends shared it. I think that's what like helped with the streams because the algorithm probably picked it up, whatever.
And when was this? This was
2019.
2019.
End of 2019. November 2019.
And when you guys released it, was it on Spotify, stuff like that?
Yeah,
okay.
DistroKid.
Wow.
We used DistroKid, and Yeah, it was just like surreal to me because my whole life growing up, I thought that I could never make music my career. Like, it was just not.
Well,
I didn't envision it at all.
You never thought about it.
No.
Right. No, it's not that like you wanted to, and then someone was like, "Nah, it's not possible,"
Right.
and that's why you're like, "Ah, I don't think I could make it work."
Right.
You just never even thought about it.
Yeah, like
Right.
I obviously a daydream about it. Be like, oh,
Right.
what if I,
So when you were
became a
writing
famous
songs
singer?
before the moment of being recorded and being suggested that it was recorded, you were just writing for fun for yourself.
Yes, for myself. I used to sit and write poems all day long.
Right.
Songs all day long. I
And when
didn't like any of them.
when you write songs, what is that process? Are you writing to lyrics? Are you finding beats? Are you
At the
playing
time,
instruments?
I was finding beats.
Okay.
And also playing a guitar.
Gotcha.
Because I knew how to play simple chords.
Mm-hmm.
But I was using like YouTube, like SZA type beats.
Yeah.
And then I think that's literally how it came up.
But you were writing for yourself.
Yeah,
Right.
I
With
was
no
writing for
intention
myself.
of releasing the songs and stuff.
Exactly.
I mean, I think the amount of people that start making music and don't think about that, I think it's quite rare, quite small these days.
Really.
I think most people now, when they start making music, they're thinking about, I want to release this,
Right.
I
Plan.
want to plan it out,
Yeah.
which is fine.
Who's my audience?
Which is fine,
Yeah.
but I do think that there is a certain magic to people who set out to making music for themselves and not with the expectation of like, this is gonna
Were
do
you
well.
like that?
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah,
when I
right?
was making music, I didn't even know what was happening.
Right.
You know, like there was definitely I was 13. You know, like
Were you really?
yeah, like when I
Wow.
recorded my first verse, it was calling my house phone with my mom's cell phone, and then when it got to the voice memo part, I played the beat out loud and I
Yeah.
would rap on the beat. So then you would hear yourself rapping on beat
Yeah.
in the voicemail. But I think for me, like, I mean, there was the concept of making money and all that just wasn't
Yeah.
even, you know.
weren't even thinking about that. You were
Yeah.
13. Yeah.
Yeah. And, I went to NYU. I tried looking for a job afterwards. It was really like that I couldn't get a job because everyone else, like you said, had internships.
Right.
And I'm like one of the zillion NYU kids that don't have internships, you know? So they're like, sorry, you know? But, I think for me, that worked.
Yeah.
You know? All right, so that's a pretty magical start.
It was.
10K streams on the
Yeah.
first song, the third day.
I couldn't believe
That's
it
wild.
because I just never thought it would get there.
Yeah.
Or at that point anyway. I
Yeah.
really thought that any song I release, I really thought that would be my only song release, to be honest.
Right.
Because I thought I would see that it had less than 1,000 streams and be like, all right, I'm good.
I'm over it now.
Yeah, I'm over it now.
That was a fluke, and I'm
yeah.
done. Yeah.
I mean, I loved the song,
Well,
but
what eventually did happen, right? Like you did
Yeah.
put out a second song.
Yeah.
And did it do numbers as the first one? And then if it did, how did it feel? If it didn't, how did it feel?
no, it didn't actually.
Right.
Because after that first one, I was so excited that I released a whole album.
Oh hell yeah. Nice.
Yeah.
You were so excited because like how you felt.
Yes.
Not like after you like kind of sifted through like the feeling of everyone else liking it and like making you feel good because they liked it. At the end of that, you were like, that felt good to do. I
Yeah.
want to go through that again.
It's such a motivating factor to
Mm-hmm.
see that people enjoy your art
Mhm.
and I enjoy the art, so I'm like, oh, why not keep doing it?
Yeah.
And I had all these songs that I had already pre-written.
Yeah.
Some of them I didn't, but some of them I did, so I'm like, I might as well just make a whole
Yeah.
album out of it.
Hell yeah. I mean, I think I probably have released more music than I should have in certain
Why do you say that?
certain aspects. I mean, because there's definitely been songs that I put out and I'm just like looking back now, I'm like, that was a bullshit ass
same.
song, you know. But I'm glad I did it. You
Yeah.
know, I think like that's part of our role
Yeah.
in this world, you know, like and I feel like it's better to be that way than never putting something out, you
True.
know, which I feel like we all kind of fall in
Sometimes.
sometimes.
Yeah,
you know?
definitely.
So I know that you just said that your grandpa was pretty big figure of music in your life.
Yeah.
Would you say that your first or your earliest memories relating to music has to do with grandpa?
Yeah.
Okay.
It would be karaoke with grandpa.
And how old were you when you were doing karaoke?
Oh my gosh, like maybe 4? I don't even know. Like super young.
Super young.
Yeah.
Got it.
He just had me singing with
Burmese
him.
music.
Yeah, Burmese. That's how I learned Burmese, by the way, because I went to an international school, so I was taught English.
Mm-hmm.
So the only way I could learn Burmese was through karaoke.
Wow.
Yeah, so that's how I like
that.
learned how to read Burmese, speak it pretty well, understand it. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
I initially learned more vocabularies through rap songs than anything else.
Yeah, like English, right? Yeah, I think you told me you were listening to a bunch of like rap songs.
Yeah. Wow, that's like such a beautiful like memory.
Thank you. Yeah,
with your grandma singing karaoke.
Yeah.
Well, what about do you have memory of like the first time a song or a piece of music really like grabbed you and like really confirmed how you were feeling or really inspired like a new feeling, just something that's like very like whoa, you know, like a whoa moment?
I don't think so, because I feel like every music I've ever come across since I was young, I felt that way.
Ooh,
I just love music.
Real.
I love listening to music. I love I love seeing artists. I love seeing good artists, not just good artists. I love seeing artists in general do their thing.
Yeah.
I guess my first musical awakening is maybe Avril Lavigne.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah, I love her.
Explain. Elaborate, please.
She's awesome. I mean, have you heard her?
But what do you mean by like
songs?
awakening?
You know, like she's like teenage angst.
Yeah.
And I'm like, whoa, she's singing with her heart. Like she's singing her heart out right now.
You were she was relatable to you.
Exactly. Super relatable.
But what like if you had to break that down right now, what part of what part of Avril Lavigne were you relating to, do you think?
I mean, her songs are like called Complicated. It's
Okay.
like,
Is that how you felt?
why'd you have to be so complicated? It was all about boys back then, you know, and she's singing about boys. So
Yeah.
I'm like,
Okay.
that's how I feel about that boy.
Yeah, all right.
If I'm sad, there's her track, I'm With You. It's like one of my favorite tracks of all time.
Right.
I just play that and get in my feels. I think music is very dear to me because it's very emotional for me. Like every song I connect it to emotion. So I think that's what the awakening was. She like gave me so many emotions. Or John Mayer. Yeah.
Wow. Yeah. John Mayer.
Yeah.
I've been watching a lot of John Mayer YouTube videos.
Recent YouTube videos?
Yeah, because I went down. I started picking up bass.
Ooh.
And just drifting all over the internet, and then I landed on BB King. Then I landed on BB King playing guitar with John Mayer, and people were talking about how amazing of a John Mayer blues guitarist John Mayer is. So very impressive.
He dropped out of Berkeley because he thought he was too good for Berkeley.
I mean, I can see how like somebody could think that, you know, what's a music school going to teach me?
Right.
You know, I think like instincts and a lot of things you can't be taught, you know. And maybe the more you're taught, like the more you become restrained, you know, to the rules. I think if when I was 11 or 12 somebody was trying to teach me how to write lyrics or teach me how to flow or something, it would have killed the fun for me immediately. Yeah. You know, like fuck out of here, you know.
Right.
Like, so I can understand that for sure.
Yeah.
Did you go ahead.
So I was going to say it's funny because it's funny you say that, and it's interesting because I now today kind of not regret, but I always wonder what my life would have been if I went to school for music. Because I feel like I'm missing a lot of personally feel like I'm missing a lot of technical things that I could have learned in school. And I love school. I'm a very like big on like, I love being a student. I love learning in the classroom setting. So I wonder if that would have like made me flourish and like meet more people and have bandmates, because I've always wanted to be in a band. Yeah, that's interesting. You don't think? I
mean, I do not think it's too late to explore any of that.
That's true.
Going back to school for music,
really?
picking up an instrument. Yeah.
It's hard.
Come on.
I know.
You
I
know,
can't do
like-
YouTube. That's the thing. Like
Why
I
not?
can't. I'm not good at like looking at videos and learning. I'm better in person.
Oh, I see. You can't do
Yeah.
YouTube tutorials.
Yeah, like, I can't.
I see what you mean.
Yeah.
I can see that. Yeah. That's not as fun.
Yeah.
I think one-on-one is better.
Yeah, I agree.
Like I was learning mostly by ear first because I was just trying to learn the bass lines to my songs,
Mm-hmm.
you know, like possible.
Mm.
Boom, 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 and that's it. I just repeat it, you know, like. But I was also learning like a bass line to Little Wing by Jimi Hendrix.
Mm-hmm.
And I went over to my friend's house and I was showing them the bass line and they started jamming along on the guitar and stuff. And I was like, whoa, this is
Oh,
what a
you're like, I
jam
love
feels like.
this.
This is awesome. Like, it, like,
I'm
it
gonna
felt,
play
it
bass
felt
now.
awesome
Yeah.
though, you know, to play something and people would just like jump in and then you're making
Yeah.
music, you
Yeah.
know, like, so yeah, I mean, I think it's not too late, you know, and I think eventually if you're interested enough, like you're gonna make time for it.
Yeah.
My life coach says any strongly held internal beliefs or desires manifest themselves in physical reality, you know, because otherwise you will go crazy if you
I'll
have
take
such
that with me.
strongly held belief and you don't make it happen.
Yeah.
It, like that disconnect, you know, will
Yeah.
drive you crazy. And that's like, you know, we were talking more about fears and insecurities, like, oh, what if my girlfriend cheats on me? And the more like you give into that, the more you're gonna act in a
Spiral.
way
Yeah.
that she's gonna look for other options because maybe you are now, you know, damaging the relationship.
Yeah,
you
or maybe
know?
you're looking for
Right.
problems or issues,
Right.
Because you're
Yeah.
feeling that way,
or
Yeah.
just you're just not communicating to
Yeah.
her your fears, you know.
Right.
Shout out to Bobby, you know. Well, next question was, what was your favorite song? But I think you
Ooh,
said
favorite song of all time?
your favorite song.
My
of
favorite
yours.
song
I mean,
of
like,
mine?
yeah, one of your favorite songs. Earlier you said Only You
Only used like
is up there.
honestly up there,
Yeah.
probably one or two.
Yeah.
I think my favorite one. You know what? It might be Only You.
Yeah, Only You is
It's
pretty
between
damn
Only
good.
You and Beat of Love.
Okay.
Because I
Yeah.
wrote Beat of Love within 15 minutes, and it's like I love that song so much. I love the lyrics so much.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think a lot of the good songs come quick like that,
Yeah.
right?
Yes. I think Only You I also wrote pretty fast,
Mm.
like within a day.
Mm.
It was just, I love writing about love.
Mm.
So it comes to me pretty easily when it's about love.
I like that. You can tap into that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Have your parents heard your music?
Yeah.
What do they think?
They love it.
They love it?
It's crazy.
I love
Another, I keep using crazy, but it really
No,
does
yeah.
feel so crazy. Because,
Right.
again, like growing up, I never envisioned it in my future. I didn't think my parents would want me to do it. They're always like, you need to become a doctor or something,
Right.
you know, find a profession.
Do you feel like that's why you chose such a like a
Yes.
impressive career?
Right. That's why
Right.
I'm like, law.
I'm gonna do law.
I'm gonna do law.
Yeah.
Not law, finance, you
Yeah,
know.
yeah.
And I did. I stayed in
Yeah.
finance. And then I got to a point where, you know, my parents felt like I was doing my thing and they didn't have to worry about me. And that's when I started releasing music.
Mm.
And I really thought that they would tell me when they heard the song, I thought that they would tell me, why are you doing this? It's a waste of your time.
Mm.
I swear to God, I really thought that was coming.
Right.
But I released the song and they were sharing it on Facebook
I love
and
that.
with their friends. And till today, like my music videos, they'll share it and then show it to my friends, be like, oh, my daughter's making music, my daughter is singing. And I cried because I was
love
like,
that.
there is no way that this is happening to me
Yeah.
right now. Yeah.
Especially immigrant parents.
Yes.
Right.
And they're very like, they're traditional, but not too traditional, but they're pretty traditional.
Mhm.
And they have really high expectations.
Mm-hmm.
So I was so worried, but I'm so glad that they're like letting me do my thing. And now that they know, like they've seen me do it for a few years now,
Mhm.
they kind of like it. They they're asking me now, you know.
Do you feel like the order of things mattered? That you were able to provide for
I
yourself,
think so.
establish, you know, this idea in your parents' head that, oh, Htet has got her shit together. And then now she's exploring some music. Wow, that's awesome.
I think so. I think if
Versus
it was
the other
like,
way.
yeah, I think if it was like 100% all in music, they'd be like, no, what the fuck are you
Yeah.
doing?
Right.
That's why I couldn't go to music school. I mean,
Right.
I wanted to. I thought about it at the time too. I'm like, oh, Boston, Berkeley.
Yeah.
I thought about it, but
Yeah.
I just never took it seriously.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's a very important point to touch on, because I realized that a lot of parents, regardless Asian or not, they really just want their kids to be able to survive.
Yeah.
It has nothing to do with the profession.
Yeah.
Like if you started making music and the first day you brought home $1 million check,
Oh, they'd be like,
your
yeah.
mom would be not bugging
Yeah.
you at all, So I think that's something I had to realize for myself too. Like, my mom never telling me to not do music was like the biggest way for her to support it.
Yeah.
She didn't know how to support it actively. But her not telling me to, her never telling me to not do it was like the way, biggest way she could support it.
How did they react how did your mom react when?
She thought it was a phase.
Oh.
I mean, but the phase started really young.
Yeah, 13.
Yeah, I was like, she first saw me rapping on stage in the gospel choir in high school.
Wow.
So the whole school, the parents, everybody's cheering me on stage. So they're like, oh, like, this is cool.
Yeah.
I was making them proud. I was the center of attention. But I think for the longest time, my mom was expecting me to run out of my interest with it or whatever, passion with it, and then just find a job, But that never happened.
Yeah.
And then once I was able to like prove to her that like, yo, I'm making a living. I'm not making a killing, but like, the goal was always to live off music, and I'm doing it. And,
It's what you love. It's what you're meant to do.
And she's also grown with me too.
Yeah.
She's also
awesome.
grown into somebody that saw the world and saw like, the definition of a successful mom as someone with a kid that went to a really nice college and had a job. It was more like about her than about me. Like it was more about her seeing herself as like a successful mom, if I were to be successful.
Yeah, like she did her job.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Especially like because I didn't really grow up with her, so she felt like this extra urgency to make up for those years of not doing her job. You know. But as she's grown with me too, she started to realize, oh, like now the ease of communication that we have, that we can joke around, talk about serious subject matters without triggering each of us. That's like the success.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah. So that's been very like personally, that's been like a highlight, you know, over the music and everything else. So
yeah, I mean, just the connection itself is enough.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So let's see. I had the next question that I had here, which I got really interesting answers. The last guest, Jeff, he said, so this guest is like, do you have any role models growing up? You know, like I personally sought out a lot of values in like Tupac's lyrics.
Okay.
I found that he was very interesting because he would have Brenda had a baby, dear mama, and then he would have like hit him up, where his first line is like, first off, fuck your bitch, and the click, I fucked your wife, you know, like, and he's like, you know, and but he was like, yeah, like, you know, he's like, I'm a Gemini, so it's even worse for me, but everybody's got multiple sides in them, you know, and it's the ones that only show you the one side you should be wary of, because they're afraid of being themselves, you know, like there's stuff like that, you know, like that I was like grabbing onto because I didn't really have any other role models.
So you followed his life.
Yeah.
Also,
I like
in
studied
addition,
his life.
Wow.
I have his like poem tattooed on me.
Wow.
Like this poem he wrote when he was 19, and his mom released after he died, in a book of poems that he wrote in his handwriting.
Changes is like probably one of my favorite Tupac songs.
Changes is great.
Changes is
awesome.
great.
But this poem says, everyone knows your face. The poem is called What of Fame, right?
Okay.
Everyone knows your face. The world screams your name. Never again are you alone. What of fame.
Ooh.
It's like, be careful what you wish for type thing.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I was like 19 and I found something powerful about that, you know? And I think that's kind of anchored me over the years to, you know, when it comes to the decision of this could blow me up, but I would need to totally give up what it is that means something to me about this music.
Yeah.
You know, so I usually go the other way around, you know. I could look at it as a blessing.
Yeah.
I could look at it as a curse.
Yeah.
You know?
Could be both.
Could be both, you know. So who was like your role model growing up?
Like for music?
No, just period. Was there somebody that you like, that was like, you know, that you thought about or that you looked to? It could be a musician.
My parents,
Okay.
I would say. Like
Yeah.
my parents were my big... For music, probably no role models,
Mm.
to be honest. But just in general, yeah, my parents. They're so ambitious. Both of them are very ambitious. Both of them are very hardworking. But they're so different. My mom is more of the emotional side, the nurturing emotional side. She's
Okay.
always like, you have to be really nice to people. You know, like instilling really good values and morals in me. And my dad is like a really good role model for working hard. Like I just see him working hard all day long, and just unfazed. You know, he wakes up. Sometimes he wakes up in the middle of the night at like 3 a.m. just to pick up a call to do work, and unfazed, and then he'll go back to sleep, and then
Right.
he'll you know, it doesn't
Yeah.
matter to him.
Yeah.
I thought that was sick, and yeah, I just wanted to be the best of the best growing up because of them, and I think that's like their push or them instilling those morals is the reason why I work so hard today and everything I do. Yeah.
And are you guys does Burma allow dual citizenships? Are y'all
No.
Okay, so
yeah, I'm a citizen here now.
okay,
Yeah,
gotcha.
yeah.
And you had to give up your
Yeah, Burmese
Burma
citizenship.
Burmese
Mhm.
citizenship? Was that like a pretty obvious decision to make if you were going to stay in the States?
Yeah, that was that was obvious, but I did think about it a bit. I did when it was going to happen. I thought, ooh, if I become a citizen here, like that means my part at home is gone. You know, like I'm no longer
Right.
Burmese, even
Right.
though I am Burmese, obviously.
Yeah.
But my passport is gone. So,
Right.
but American passport is much stronger than Burmese passport. So
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, whatever.
Yeah.
I'll probably work here. You know, I'll probably stay here forever anyway.
Right.
So, yeah, it did make me a little sad because,
Right.
you know, it's home.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But would you call New York home as well?
Now, yeah, probably.
Right.
A few years ago, I still considered Burma my main home because I went back once a year. So before COVID, I would definitely go back at least once a year. So it just felt like I kept going home. You know, I was here, I kept going home.
Yeah.
But then after COVID, I hadn't gone back since. So now this feels more like my base. Yeah.
Right. How come you haven't you just haven't had time to
Yeah,
go
I
back?
mean,
Yeah.
COVID and then the coup happened back home.
Right.
So
Okay.
things are like pretty bad back there right now. I mean, it's fine to visit,
Right.
but I might as well stay here just to be safe.
Yeah.
And my parents like come here also. Like they have green cards, so they can go back and forth.
Got
The
it.
only thing I'm missing out on is that my eldest sister have had 2 kids since,
Right.
and I haven't seen either of them.
Oh.
So I hope to go back next year for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You mind just getting that a little more centered on you?
Here.
There you go.
What the?
Yeah.
Who the fuck?
Don't
you
tell me
think?
what to do, man. Like, I told you this. I wasn't joking. So we met through music, right?
Yeah.
We met because
even
Inspector
remember.
Jones
Yeah.
was doing a show. Shout out Inspector
Oh,
Jones.
that was where we first
right?
met.
I'm
yeah.
pretty sure.
Yes.
It was our friend Inspector Jones, rapper,
Yeah.
and he was doing a show at Sultan Room in Brooklyn, and then we were the guests for
Yeah.
the show.
Yeah.
Right? I think that's when we met.
Oh my! I think that might have been the first time we met.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
I remember seeing you in your suit, and I'm like, oh, that's Bohan. Or
Was
like
I
your
in a suit?
jacket. You
Was
were
I
like in a
Oh
jacket.
yeah, I
like
was in.
a
Oh, I
nice
was in
jacket.
such a lame pleather,
like a red pleather jacket.
pleather jacket. Jesus.
I'm like, wow, he's
Who
he's
let me-
bold.
That was It was hideous,
No,
ridiculous.
it was good.
But so we met through music.
Yeah.
What are some other people that you met through music that have stayed in your life in a meaningful ways, and can you speak on how you have seen in New York music and culture have connected people?
Yeah, it's funny because I think majority of the new friends that I've made are centered around like creativity or music. So music, video producers, directors, producers in general, mixers, people like Larry.
Yeah.
So Larry, I met through Andrew Kim, who like mainly mixes a lot of my songs. And Andrew like had hit me up because he heard my album, and it just like kept growing. So Andrew is like, shout out to Andrew, he's awesome. He just helps me with everything. And then through Andrew I met Kai Sao, who is also now my like second mixing engineer. Nice. And we hang out with him all the time. I guess like one of the biggest like impactful people, or like the most impactful people I've met through music, is Eugene, my boyfriend. We met through music.
Wow.
We matched on Tinder.
Oh, nice.
And then I was like, oh, he goes to Berkeley. Like this guy sings. This guy musics.
Yeah. What if he never threw that Berkeley tag up there?
I don't know. Honestly, I really
Your
don't know.
eyes lit up when you saw the Berkeley.
Yeah, like not just Berkeley, but
I'm about to give me a private lesson.
Right.
Yeah.
4-year I have a good story for you for that too, because I went to his Instagram, obviously, and he was singing on there, and he was singing John Mayer. So I'm like, oh.
All lined up.
All lines up.
Wow.
And then we actually didn't meet until, like, we never met up in Boston, even though we were in Boston together. We were in the same neighborhood, too. And then a year later, when I was recording my song in Brooklyn with my friend's boyfriend and his brother, he DM'd me and was like, what are you doing in Brooklyn? Like, I live here. He's like, I live in New York. And then that's when we finally met up.
Amazing. No more excuses.
Yeah. And then our second or third date, I went to Boston to visit him, and he took me to Berkeley. And that's when I was like, I wish I went. Yeah. And then I was like, I wish I went to the school, because have you ever been to Berkeley?
Yeah.
Yeah, you know, like when you walk through, there's like this hall with different like practicing rooms.
Oh, I don't think I've been to that.
Yeah, so it's like a practice hall, I think. It's in some building, and then there's like so many rooms. Yeah. And then as you're passing each room, you just hear like piano in one room. You hear somebody singing in one room. And it's like, it was surreal. Like, this is the
playground.
Yeah, I'm like, oh my God, this is my dream.
Yeah.
And then we went into this like tiny room where there was a piano and a guitar. And then we just sang. And I was like, this is it. Like, I really like it. This is the guy.
Yeah, this is the guy.
Yeah, this is the guy.
I love it. I like that.
Thanks.
Quite magical.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, you know, I think I look at my friends who went to NYU but went to Tisch. You know, they were taking classes with, where Pharrell was popping in, stuff like that. I'm like, what?
Did you ever get to see Pharrell at NYU?
No, I mean, I wasn't in the music program.
Yeah.
You know, the Clive Davis program, right? Like, they had, people that was working with everybody.
Yeah.
Like they taking engineer classes from from Bob Powers, who mixed, Tribe Called Quest over the years.
RPQ.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And but I still think that if we had gone to a traditionally music school, it would have, I don't know,
not been the same.
It would have not been the same. I think it all happened exactly as it should have happened.
That's true.
Which leads to my next question.
Yeah.
Which is, does having a day job get in the way of creativity? And if it doesn't, do you find it actually gives you more context from which music can grow from?
Yes and no.
Okay.
I have enough time, I think, right now to be able to juggle both. But as I'm growing in my career, my day job has been taking more of my time. And then
Right.
after work, I'm so tired that I'm
course.
like, I don't want to make music right now.
Mhm.
I just want to like look at my phone and
Mhm.
scroll. So I really only have after 6 p.m., 7 p.m. to do music or on the weekends. But at the same time, I feel like if I was doing music full time, I might be burnt out with music pretty quickly. The industry is really hard.
Oh yeah.
And I think the stress would really get to me. And I love the stability that my work brings. And I enjoy my job. I actually really enjoy finance. So it's not like I'm dreading work all day long and then I don't get to do music, or I do get to do music. It's more like I'm enjoying my day.
Yeah.
But hey, after work, I'm going to do something I love and then
Right.
get it out, you
Right.
know?
Yeah.
So it's almost like an outlet of like all my emotions that I've pent up over the day. Yeah, so it gets in the way sometimes in terms of time, but in terms of life, I don't think so. I think it kind of helps because I'm not stressing about, like how am I gonna make music, like make money with music?
Yeah.
How am I gonna make this a career?
Right.
I can actually just have the autonomy to do whatever I want with my music.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, it takes the fun out of it when you have to stress for it to feed you pretty much. Yeah.
Right. It's hard.
Yeah, I mean that's you know, kind of ties back to what we're saying here. Everything happens how it should. You know, like I think even your beginning relationship with music when you were just writing to yourself, I think that only comes when, you know, you feel this urgency to do so, but that's so clear from, you know, everything else that you do.
Yeah.
You know, for me, like sometimes it's hard to separate it, you know, and I definitely do in the recent year or so have been thinking about maybe bringing myself to have some sort of other structure or like discipline, you know. Yeah, I do think you need input for output.
Yeah.
You know, if there's no life being lived, the perspective is only so narrow.
Yeah.
And everyone pretty much going to be talking about the same thing.
Yeah.
Which is hoes, money. And, I mean, that's how I feel about rap. Trapping.
Yeah, but I do like.
I like talking about hoes.
I love hoes. We love
Yeah.
hoes here. I do think about it though. Like if I quit my job, could I do it?
How much money we got in the bank off camera? Just kidding, just kidding.
$1 million. No.
Yeah. 12 bitcoins.
12.
How much is that? I don't even know how much that
I don't
is.
even
That's
know.
about $1 million.
I think so.
Yeah.
I don't even know. I don't do Bitcoin. But I think about it and then I go back
Bitcoin?
and forth.
You think about Bitcoin? No, I'm kidding.
Yes, Bitcoin.
Yeah, sorry.
I just like,
Yeah.
what if there's so many what ifs.
I'm sure.
I have to stop with the what ifs.
I'm sure Tanya, your manager, has been a good
Oh, she's awesome.
somebody to talk to about this kind of stuff.
Totally.
Right?
She's like my angel, you know.
Yeah.
She's like my knight in shining armor who's just like making sure I stay on track with things, making sure I'm planning stuff properly.
Yeah.
Because my mind is never on the let's plan this release.
Well,
you
that's
know,
her
it's
job,
always
the
I'm
manager.
gonna release it.
Yeah.
I'm gonna release it and figure it out.
No, I just think it's great that she stuck by you in your decision.
Yeah.
Right? Like you're like, look, like I love music.
Yeah.
And I love that you love my music.
Yeah.
But you know, I'm gonna do this at my capacity.
Yeah.
And I would love your support. And if I get it if you don't want to, because I'm not doing this full time.
Right.
But she stuck with you.
Yeah.
You know, like I think that's awesome. That's so hard to find.
And
you know?
yeah, and like I think she knows that I'm open to it if the opportunity came.
Sure.
Yeah. It's just like getting there.
Actually, we have a deal on the table for you right now.
Oh my God. Are you going to pay me $1 million right now? I always say if I start making like more than my day job, that's when I would like, or even like if it's close.
More, huh?
Yeah. Or even if it's close.
Right.
I think I would definitely, I would seriously consider it if it was consistent.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because I like
Makes sense.
back in January.
And that's essentially like what it could look like for like a record deal too, right?
Right.
Like say for example, for the next 5 years, you get this amount of money every year to do what you need to do.
Yeah.
Kind of like a salary situation.
I don't know
Because
if I
like
wanna do
I don't
a
know,
record
I don't know.
label.
It was, but I'm just saying like I don't know there's no real way to guarantee
Yeah.
ongoing.
Right.
You know.
See, I don't know how that part works.
Well, it's a
it's
leap
like a
of faith.
loan, right?
It's a leap of faith.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
it's a leap of faith. Yeah.
I'm not good at taking big risks. I'm a very calculated. I plan my 1 year,
Yeah.
my 6 month, 1 year, 2 year, 3 year, 5 year. Obviously, I'm flexible with it if
Yeah,
it
yeah.
changes.
Yeah.
But I'm a planner. I'm a
Yeah.
planner in like work.
Yeah. Well, it's worked out for you.
Yeah.
So it's good. Yeah.
But January, I had a pretty big licensing payout, and I was like, whoa, this is the most I've ever made in 1 month, like within the 15 days of the month. What if I kept making it consistently? I did the math. I'm like, ooh, if I made that amount consistently, maybe I could quit my job. But
Yeah. I think consistency is the hardest part.
yes.
Yeah. I think if you can't do anything consistently, you usually get some results.
Yeah. Like
That's
social media.
Yeah, I mean, I've had to relearn it again and again. I just recently realized that I've been persistent over the years, but I haven't been consistent over the years, and that is why a lot of results wasn't shown. You know, and you're almost kind of like crazy if you're persistent without being consistent.
Yeah.
Because you're just like, I'm gonna make it. I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna do it. And it's
I'm
like,
a star.
I'm a star. And then, but like, you don't put the work into to do that.
Yeah.
You know, like,
I always think it's just going to fall on my lap. That's my
Yeah.
red flag when it comes to music. Because I think everything just have fallen on my lap. So
I don't think so. I don't think so. I mean, like, for example, if you weren't writing songs by yourself already,
yeah,
you wouldn't have had those songs to record.
true.
You
But
know?
also my first show, Sultan Room, really? Like my
I mean,
first
Song Room is a pretty room, but it's not like, you know.
I know, but still, I just thought I'd be in like a cafe.
I'm
or
just saying
something.
nothing is falling in your lap.
Yeah.
You know,
okay.
like
it's from my own.
If your music
doings.
was whack, like no one
Yeah,
was
yeah.
gonna hit you up to perform.
That's true.
You know, like, and
You're right. I am a star.
Yeah, and like the reason your music isn't whack is because you know you've been able to pay attention to all those voices. You know, those crazy voices.
Yeah.
But no, like seriously, you know. So I don't believe in things falling in the laps. You know, I really don't.
That's a good
I
way
think
to see
I
it.
think that's too disrespectful to people that have worked really hard to.
Yeah.
You know, it looks like it. I
Yeah.
think it looks like it. Yeah.
It feels like it sometimes. Not like falling into my lap. Okay,
Yeah.
that's maybe a bad way to put it. I
Yeah.
think I see it as
Things clicking.
the universe keeps telling me that this is what I need to do. Like it just yeah, you're right. Like it just keeps clicking. Like I release a song. Oh, it does well. It keeps motivating me to make new songs. Oh, I make new songs. Not that well, but hey, I have many more friends now who's in music hitting me up, producers hitting me up. Oh, okay, now I make music with them. And then I meet more people to make music with. And it's
Yeah.
like, it just happens so easily for me when it comes
Yeah.
to music that I'm like, oh, the universe it feels
It's a
like
lot of grace.
it's like
A lot
a
of
bigger
grace.
thing telling me, oh, this is like easy for you. This is good for you.
Right.
Yeah.
And if you were to make that leap, how do you think your family would feel?
I think if I told them how much I make and if that amount, if they were happy with that amount, I think they'd be okay with it. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think they'd be worried, but I think they'd be okay with it as long as the money came with it. Yeah.
Do you feel like you're able to make decisions that will disappoint your parents?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, I'm sure I disappoint them in one way or another at some point. But there are times when I don't. You
Right,
know,
right.
it ebbs and flows. So
Yeah.
there's no such thing as they would never be disappointed in me. But I've
Right.
been a great, Asian.
But
model
what if you were
student,
but what
per
if you
se.
but I mean specifically like if you were like I don't want to work anymore. I want to
Yeah.
be full time in music.
They'd be
And
like,
they said, we don't think this is a good idea. We don't think you should do it. Would you be able to do that?
I would think about it really hard. I don't know, because I think I respect my parents' advice and their opinions so much.
Yeah.
Like I know that they're coming from a smart place.
Sure,
like
of course.
I work I follow my emotions so much, but they follow their head and their emotion. So I respect people who follow their head.
They haven't led you astray yet.
Exactly.
Right.
Like every decision they've told me to make has always been correct.
Yeah.
So I'm not going to stray from that now.
Yeah.
But who knows?
Yeah.
Like I've always just done whatever I want to anyway, to be fair. Like Boston,
Right.
my mom told me not to do it. I
Right.
went.
Yeah.
Music, they didn't not tell me not to do it, but they told me to do something else.
Right.
I did it anyway.
Right. Cool.
Yeah.
I think that's important.
Yeah.
You know, I think it's important for us to be able to love our parents and also like choose what we need to do for ourselves too.
Yeah.
You know,
You have to know yourself really well at that.
yeah.
To do that.
I think like otherwise it's a lot of resentment going forward. You know, and like I don't know what made me have the balls to just defy my mom and my stepfather the whole way since I've been here. But thank God I did.
Yeah.
And I'm sure they're grateful that I did too.
Yeah,
you
because
know?
they see the side of you that they never really knew right before that. Like
No
they'd be like,
way.
"Whoa, I didn't
For
know that
sure.
my son would become."
They didn't know who I was.
Yeah.
They knew nothing about me.
Right.
You know, but they wanted me to be this idea.
Yeah.
You know. But thank God for my
Shout out to
recklessness.
parents. Shout out to recklessness.
Shout out to my grandparents spoiling me all my life. So by the time I got to the States, I was a little shithead, you know. You know, I kind of just want to tie this conversation back to, I guess, this idea of the Great Wall of America. Do you feel like there were any moments where you were super proud to be like an American, or there were moments where you were super proud of your heritage of being Burmese?
That's such an interesting question because I don't think I've ever really thought about that.
Mm-hmm.
There were never moments where I'm like, "Oh, I'm proud to be an American," or "I'm proud to be Burmese." For me, it's like, "Oh, I'm Burmese.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, now I'm American."
Mm-hmm.
And I never really tie like where I am, where I'm living with my identity. I think that's because I traveled so much when I was younger, and I've moved around so much that like where I live or where I'm born doesn't really tie into my identity so much.
Right.
It's just more like
The world is bigger than that.
exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You feel like your early travelings helped you look past some of the barriers?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think going to international school really helped because I was so comfortable speaking English. And again, because I was traveling so much, I went to Singapore, you know, not here in America per se, but I was traveling a lot within Asia and like China, Singapore, Thailand and stuff like that. So I wasn't afraid to cross borders. I was flying to Singapore alone when I was like 13 because my sister went to school there. So I was never afraid of flying. I was never afraid to cross borders. I was never afraid to speak up, speak English. So when I moved here, it was such an easy transition for me, actually.
Nice.
I was so excited. I was never, not once was I nervous.
Right.
I was just like, whoa, I'm
Right.
going to live an American lifestyle.
Yeah.
So maybe
Wait,
that's the
what does that
closest.
mean? American
From what I
lifestyle.
saw in movies, it was
Right.
just like, ooh, I'm going to get bullied in school for being
Yeah.
Asian.
Yeah.
Or
Did you?
no, which
Right.
was great. I loved it. Like,
Yeah.
I went to a school where it was known to be a delinquent school. My mom actually gave me a choice to go to a
I
quote
love
unquote
that.
better school.
Yeah.
And
how does she let you pick a delinquent school?
because it
over
was
a
really
better school?
close. And she's like, you know what? I'm sure it'll be fine. Like, she didn't really know either because she's
Yeah.
not from here. So she heard about it, but she didn't really know. There wasn't crime going on around there. But
Yeah.
I knew because I was in the school and we had like metal detectors and we had kids
Jeez.
bringing.
Wow. This is high school.
Yeah, this is high school. We had
Right.
kids bringing knives to school. I
Right.
don't know about guns. I never heard, but
Sure.
maybe. There were definitely like gang members and stuff like that.
Yeah.
I had so much fun because they were so nice to me.
Yeah.
When, you know, that was the first time I knew the difference between a Dominican and a black person because I've never
Sure.
like really seen Hispanic people before
Yeah.
in real life.
Yeah. You're just looking at like skin complexions.
Exactly.
Right.
And I'm just like, whoa, there are so many ethnicities and so this like big world that I was never around. And everybody was so nice and so welcoming. People were friendly. So, you know, your so-called gang members, they were friendly.
Yeah. I found a lot of the, you know, the sped ed kids and tough kids. I found them to be very, very like sociable people, you know.
Like the kids who walk down the hallway and get in trouble.
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
They're my friends today, you know.
Exactly. Yeah.
It was great. I loved high school, actually. I felt like they welcomed me with open arms.
I love that.
Yeah, it was awesome.
I mean, you know, for me, like a lot of the moments, you know, if I were to say moments of hostility, looking back, they were all very subtle. You know, they were really not like. I think the only times when I really faced like a threat, like a direct threat, was those couple years of COVID. You know.
Oh, that's true.
Yeah. I think like even prior to that, like I played lacrosse against some like Catholic school. They call me a chink, you know, like, but like it's not like I never, that didn't really hit me like that in high school, you know, like, but I think watching a lot of the people being attacked in our community during COVID was the most visceral of a reminder that like, oh, I have an American passport, but you know, if I cough on the subway in 2021, that's a bad look. You know, like, did you ever feel during that time or any moment in your life in America where you felt othered, where you were reminded that you were an immigrant?
Yeah, same as you. I think COVID was the only time where I really felt like that. Because it was so diverse in my school. We had a lot of Asians too, so I never felt othered. I always felt like I belonged. And then when COVID came, it was very like the first time when I was like, ooh, you know, people might look at me and think differently.
Right.
And then actually in some settings at like work, I do think about it sometimes because it's very, you know, dominantly white, which is fine. And they're very nice to me too. But I think about it though. Yeah. You know, sometimes I'm like, I love eating pho on a rainy day at work. And then sometimes I'm like, oh, I can't, should I eat this here? What if it's the smell like bothers them? And then I'm like, wow, this is some high school shit. Like, why am I thinking about
you're
how
doing
my
the work
food,
for them.
Yeah. I still eat that pho though.
Hell yeah. No, for sure. Yeah. I mean, that's what I mean, right? It's like not like it's never been like an obvious threat.
Right.
But whenever I am the only Chinese person or Asian person in the space, there is a little unease.
Yeah.
You know? Yeah. Like you said, it's like okay, is my food smell weird?
Yeah.
You know, like, I mean, when I first smelled Parmesan cheese, bro, like that shit smelled like literal doo doo.
It still smells like literal doo doo to me.
You know, like, so, you know, but I wonder like how many white people are eating Parmesan cheese and thinking about, oh, who's smelling this? You know, like, and that's the thing is like, I've said this in the last couple episodes, but I'm gonna say in every episode. For me, like a lot of these. You know, like writing a song like this, I'm not asking anything from white people whatsoever. It's more about reminder to self, or maybe not even a reminder, because some of us, we don't even know, you know, that we do belong, despite how we look, despite how our food smells, you know, like despite where we're from. So it's like, because, you know, I'm doing a lot of work on my personal life, and I realize a lot of it is deep rooted. Yeah. And until I get to that root, until I admit that there is that rooted problem, everything is affected. But once I kind of can get to that and resolve that, I feel better myself. Yeah. You know. And I thought it was very interesting that growing up my whole life in America, it was I either had to follow the black narrative or the white narrative. There was no space or room for me. And and then all of a sudden, when we were being attacked, okay, now we have like this urgency
Yeah.
to like learn about ourselves and
Yeah.
yo shit, we're trauma, and then that lasted about 2 years, and then it's
And
gone.
it was gone.
Again,
Yeah.
So even as I was writing the song, as I'm like, no one's asking for this right now. Like I think people are glad that we're past that. You
Yeah.
know? So what am I writing this for?
Yourself.
For myself, right? Because I was
Yeah.
like, what am I gonna write? Another song about flexing. Another song about I don't know, like punchlines and metaphors, which is great. People are really good at that.
Yeah.
I'm not.
Yeah.
Like what am I good at? I'm good at writing down how I feel.
Yeah.
And for me, like after following that decision, it hasn't been the most explosive numbers or whatever, like, or the most people writing about it, but I feel really good about myself, like that I did something that's
awesome.
coherent with myself.
Yeah.
But anyways,
That's awesome.
I
though.
digress.
Where are you really from?
Yeah, where you really? So okay, so if you were say you were traveling, you were traveling in Idaho. I mean, you wouldn't go to Idaho. Let's say you go to Miami.
Yeah.
And
I would
someone-
go to Idaho, by the way.
Oh, you will go to Idaho?
They have amazing scenery.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Have you been?
No, but a friend of mine went, and then he
Hmm.
does film. So he posted pictures of Idaho. It's beautiful.
I feel like a lot of
It's like
Middle
grass
America
fields.
probably looks like that.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
Anyways, go.
Yeah. No. Okay. Say you're in Miami.
Yeah.
And someone's like, you're at a bar,
Yeah.
and drinking, chatting somebody else. Oh man, you so cool. Where you from? What would you say immediately?
I would say New York.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then they're like, oh, cool, New York. Woo, woo. You were born there? It's like, no.
Oh, I'd be like, no, I'm from Burma.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. All right, just kidding. Just wondering. Yeah. Because like when if I'm talking to someone, they're like, where are you from? Like
Yeah.
if I freeze.
Yeah,
I really don't. I
think
really
about
don't
it.
know.
Yeah.
I really don't know what they want me to say. Like,
Right.
But usually, if I say New York and they say that's not the right answer, then I know what they're asking.
Yeah. I actually usually say New York, but I was born in Burma.
Right.
Yeah, I
right.
just answer it all.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I mean, like you do the work, for them.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was messing around with somebody. They were like, "Where you from?" I was like, "Oh, New York." They're like, "Right." What about where were you before that? I was like, "Oh, I was in Boston actually." Like, oh, because you were born in Boston. I was like, "No, I wasn't." And I'm just dragging it out, I'm just waiting for it. He's like, "Right." We're saying, he's grabbing a drink. He's like, were you? But like, what about before that? I forgot how he has that again.
It's so funny because like sometimes I know people also try hard not to like offend us, and they think about that too. But they're also curious.
I know, and that's the
it's like,
thing. It's probably all curiosity,
Yeah.
except when they're like, go back
When
to
it's
where you're
obvious.
from,
Right.
Like, but see, that's the thing. Is like, why so curious?
Right.
Like,
why does it matter?
Yeah, why does it matter? Right,
Yeah.
like, white people moved here from Germany like 20 years ago.
You ask them,
asking them.
Yeah.
I do think with the political atmosphere too, like us Asian faces
Yeah.
all get grouped into Chinese.
Yes.
and
Oh my
then-
God.
And then
So many
everyone
ni haos.
gets. Yeah. Do you ever just get assumed that you're like Chinese
Totally.
or Korean or
All
Japanese?
the time. It's
Right.
always Chinese.
How does that make you feel?
Oh, I hate it. I hate it.
Well, like okay, but
because I'm
yeah.
not Chinese.
Right. Yeah.
And
yeah.
like, I look a little Chinese, fine, but like.
But it's not about being Chinese.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just about like you don't even know me.
Right.
Why are you assuming?
But see, this is what I mean, right? Like,
Yeah.
like it's not like it's not anything like directly harmful,
Right.
or it's just like,
Yeah, like-
there's no effort here,
Like, why are you saying that?
Yeah.
It was funny. I really remember this one time. This older man.
Yeah.
He like I walked past him, and then he was like, "Ni hao, ni hao. How are you doing?"
Yeah.
And then like I stopped in my tracks. And I turned and I
Yeah.
just stood there and I said, "I'm not Chinese."
Yeah.
And I just kept looking at him. I
Yeah.
just stopped there. I said, "I'm not Chinese." Like, oh. he didn't know what to say.
He's like, I don't know
just
any other
stood there,
one.
and it was so awkward. I
Yeah,
loved it
I
because
love that.
I could see that he was so awkward.
Yeah,
and, like,
he didn't even expect that
yeah,
you would
he
turn
didn't.
around. And say,
Yeah, like or stop, you
Yeah.
know. And I stood there for like a good maybe 10 seconds,
Yeah.
and then I just walked away. It was like so.
Yeah, you
it
owned
felt
that- you
great.
owned that space.
Yeah, it felt great.
Yeah.
But yeah, I get that a lot. It's annoying,
Yeah,
especially
yeah.
because we speak completely different languages, and
Completely
people don't even
different.
think about it.
Yeah,
you know?
completely. I mean, even within China, there's so many
Yeah.
different languages too.
Yeah.
You know? Yeah, I feel. I don't even know why I feel bad about that, but like I do feel bad about that because like people just automatically assume like, you know, everyone is just one thing.
Yeah.
It could be anything. It could be like everyone
Right.
just assumes that we're all like Japanese or Korean,
Yeah.
whatever. You know.
But it doesn't feel as bad when it comes from Asians.
Yeah, I agree. I agree.
I don't
Yeah,
know
why is that?
Yeah, I
Yeah.
don't know why. Because Koreans will speak to me in Korean at
Yeah.
restaurants, and I'm like,
Yeah.
oh, I'm not Korean.
Yeah,
But,
yeah.
You know, it's fine though.
Yeah. Hey, listen, they get a pass. You know. I mean, I do. Okay, so I I was in high school one time, and I went into Dunkin' Donuts. I got a coffee from this person. Went back to class. After school, went back, got a donut. And I was like, "Thanks, Steve." He goes, "I'm not Steve." And I realized he's not Steve. He's not the guy that served me the coffee
no.
earlier. He looked exactly like Steve.
Oh.
I think he was offended. Yeah,
Aw.
I think he was offended.
He's like,
but
you don't even know me.
yeah. He's like, yeah, it's probably like, yo, how does this Chinese guy mix me up? You know,
Yeah.
like, can you share like a story of like a personal triumph or like a failure that taught you something that ended up not being like a failure at all?
Oh my gosh.
You can take your time.
Yeah, I mean, it's so hard.
Yeah.
I've gone through so many failures and so many triumphs.
Okay, let's celebrate one of them.
Yeah, making music or like putting my music out there, I think
Mm.
is a big triumph for me.
Mm.
I had that mental block, really, like a huge mental block, and I still do sometimes.
Mm.
But I really never thought that I would be bold enough to put my art out there, my
Mm.
personal art, because I would do covers and post it, but it's not my song. It's not my emotions. It's fine.
Mm.
But putting all my emotions out on the table like that, because similar to you, I write best when I tap into my emotions.
Mm.
So it was so vulnerable for me,
Mm.
right? And it was such a vulnerable moment, and I took a leap of faith. That was my
Mm.
leap of faith,
Mm.
right? Thinking, okay, you know what? Whatever happens, I did it. It's out there. This is a dream of mine to ever even make a song, and I did it. And look at where I am now.
Yeah.
You know, my life has completely changed.
Right.
I could be doing full-time finance and that's it,
Mhm.
right? I could be working till 9 p.m. finance all day long
Mm.
and never make music.
Mm.
But that's not what my life is, right?
Mhm.
My life is filled with creatives like you. You're my
Mm.
friend. I have many like musician friends, music video producers, directors, so many creative friends that I would have never gotten to know if I didn't make that one song
Mhm.
5 years ago.
Right.
So I always think back to that moment. No regrets. You know?
I love that.
Yeah.
Well, my friend, thank you for sharing.
Thanks for having me.
Hell yeah. You got the new song out.
Yes.
Let people know and let people know where to expect more.
Yeah, it's called Feel Alone. It's by me and Pedram. Pedram on the beats. He also played the keys, which is amazing.
Pedram is amazing.
He's awesome. He
Great
plays the
guy.
sax now too.
You know what? Actually, I do have one last question
Yeah.
because I'm thinking about your song and I'm thinking about people looking up Htet. So your name is spelled Htet.
Yes. Yeah.
Now, how do people mess it up? What are the most common ways people mess it up?
When they say it or
Yeah,
when they
when they
type
say
it?
it.
Oh, okay. When they say it, it's Htet.
Htet. They'll
yeah.
say the H.
Yeah, it's
okay.
the Htet or Het.
Het. Okay.
I get Het a lot.
All right.
When they write, it's THET or TET.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, so Htet is like the biggest one, I think.
And was there ever a conversation between you and your parents about do you want to pick an American name? Do you want
I
to
have
stick
an
to your
American name.
Oh, you do.
It's April.
Oh, I never knew that.
Yeah, Eugene calls
I
me
mean, who
April.
calls you that? Eugene does?
Yeah.
Oh, I like that.
Thank you.
I mean, that's
I
kind of
am
like
April.
cute too that he calls you that too.
Yeah.
Um,
I grew up with April. So
Okay.
my whole life I was called April.
Whoa.
Until 15.
Here I am thinking it's the other way around.
No.
So you were being called April in Burma?
Yeah, because I went to an international school and I
What?
needed an English name to I
Wow.
didn't need it,
Yeah,
but they
yeah,
were
yeah.
like, "Oh, you probably need
Yeah,
an English
yeah,
name because
yeah.
all the teachers are
Sure.
not Burmese."
And it's part of the like being in an international
exactly.
school.
So my birthday,
Wow.
my birth month, April, I felt like it matched me.
Oh, you picked it.
Yeah, I picked
Ah,
it.
I like that.
And then came here, and when you go to school, everybody goes by their government name. That was the first time I ever went by Htet, because
Right.
Htet is actually a guy, like a male name.
I know a guy.
Yeah. Because like in Burma, it's your whole name is your identity. So Htet Iwe, which is like my whole name.
Yep, like Bohan.
Yeah,
like
yeah.
Chinese,
And that's my name, right? That makes it girly and female. But Htet is kind of like in the middle somewhere. So I felt so weird when I was first called Htet. I'm like, oh, this is so unnatural.
Yeah.
And then my friends at school started calling me Htet,
Yeah.
and I really started to like it a lot.
I love that. Yeah.
It felt like an identity that I never like grasped.
Yeah.
Until I got
you
here.
brought Burma with you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So all my friends that I made here in high school calls me Htet. People that I've introduced myself to at the time, like way back then, outside of school calls me April. And then now people who know me now today, I introduce myself as Htet. So now people call me Htet. So
love
you'll hear a mixture of people calling me April, Htet. Yeah.
And then it was just natural to just put your own name on the music.
Yeah, I felt like that was the decision to make, because I've lived with the April identity my whole life. That's who I am, whatever. But Htet is like stronger for me. It's like I'm really like
Coming into yourself.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I'm really identifying with that name. And Htet means like tough. Yeah.
I like that.
Thanks.
I think you're tough.
Thanks.
Yeah.
I think so too.
All right, well, the new song is out.
Yes.
Go get that. Htet. The H is silent.
That's right.
And it's on Spotify, Apple Music, all that good stuff. And what is your IG?
Teddy. Htetty.
Cool. We'll throw that on screen too.
Hell yeah.
Thanks, friend.
Thank you.
Bye.
Yay.
Yay.